Happy Monday, everybody, and welcome back to the Fuller Homestead. My name is Brian. We're back out here at the chicken coop where the last time we visited, we set up some T-posts and some heavier posts for our run. Now, this run is not only going to be for our currently 56 chickens, but it's also going to be for some rabbit cages. And it really, the primary purpose of it is to let the rabbits and the chickens work together to help us have a great compost area. I was going to run the fence the first thing this morning, but I looked and I wasn't happy with the way that the larger posts are feeling. They're not setting in there solid. So I'm going to show you what I mean, and then we're going to try to remedy that situation. So just looking at this back post here, you can tell that it is not solid. It's moving pretty freely. I wanted it to be obviously better than that, especially since that's going to be a corner post for the fencing, and it's going to need to have a lot of rigidity. So we're going to go through and take just a piece of scrap wood here and a little maul, and we're going to see if we can't compact that soil around those a little better. I tried to go around it with just the stake, but it wasn't giving me enough surface area. So we're gonna hit this and see if we can't get that to sit in there a little more solid. Well, after trying to compact the soil around those posts, I'm still not happy with it. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull them up. We're gonna take the auger, basically reshape those holes. And then I've got some bags of Quickcrete that we're going to use, and we'll just set them in concrete. Wasn't my, first hope. I was hoping we could have a little more versatility with them, but we're going to go ahead and do that. Now, when we moved here from Texas, the day that we loaded everything into these pods, they were really cubes, but whatever, it rained like all day. And then when we got here to Arkansas, and the days that we unloaded, it rained. So 3 of the bags were from that mix, and I know that they're mostly ruined, but we'll take all of those bags up there, see what we can use, take some 5-gallon buckets of water up there to use and just mix it in the hole. And then since we have to wait for that to cure, we're gonna do something fun. We did find some wild muscadines on the property, some on the far, east side, and then some on the north side of our property. And so we're gonna go check those out, take some buckets with hopeful anticipation of bringing back some muscadines today. And if there's not a ton to make into jelly or whatever, we'll just eat them. But excited to try that out. In addition to doing the Quickcrete, we're going to fix a problem that I just noticed. This time what I'm going to do, instead of stopping at the tines, is I'm going to go all the way up to the pin, hopefully giving myself a lot more stability. Well, it felt like I wasn't able to really get enough traction to go any further, so we're going to see where we're at here. So right now, even with that about ground level, it's not quite 2 feet. We're going to call it 22. So we're better, feel good about that. Let's go ahead and set it, put some Quickcrete in there and see what happens. All 4 corners of our run are now set in concrete, and we're going to let that set for at least 4 hours before we try to put any kind of tension on it. Probably gonna give it in that 6 to 8 range just to be safe. But now I wanna work on this overhang here. It is held up by one T-post on this side, and it looks like a cedar limb on this one. So we're gonna try to make it a little more, not only sturdy, but aesthetically pleasing. There is a pretty big bow, let me show you. So as you can see, there is quite a bow in this center area. Would not be a bad idea to put a post in the middle here just to give it a little extra support. Let's get on that. I just thought I do have some bricks, I think, that are over in the shed here. So we're gonna go look and see if I can't lay something down as kind of a platform to put these on. Let's go check. Here are the bricks that I was thinking about. They are really old. I don't have another project for them right now, but they're uber cool. So we're gonna go ahead and take them anyway. I'll have to go back and look at the other footage. I think that the bow is a little bit less than it was. We're going to go ahead and let that. I think the runoff will be fine there. But I do feel good in the fact that we've got 2 new posts in. They're both sitting on bricks. That one's obviously further down in the ground than that one is, but it looks a little better. Kind of seems to match the post on the outside, so I'm happy with that. We're gonna take a little bit of a break from the chicken area and hopefully do something a little bit fun and enjoyable. On a couple of our scouts around the property, we did notice what we think were muscadine vines. So I'm gonna go up to the first place. This one's not big. See if I can't do it. Look how optimistic I am. I even brought a bucket. And the reason that I'm checking today is because on Facebook, I noticed that one of the farmers markets had posted a picture of a vendor. Oh, there goes Jack, he's going after a squirrel. One of the vendors at the farmers market had ripe muscadine. So I thought, well, if theirs are ripe, maybe mine are too. All right, so here are the ones that I was thinking of. And yes, indeed, they are muscadines. Now, this was a little bit deceptive because it has wound itself so much into this tree, it almost looked like it was part of the tree, but you can see where it has, see if I can get you, wrapped itself around over and over and over again. These are all still very, very green. So what we're gonna do now is go down the back side of the property line and we're gonna check out some more. We're basically just gonna make one big loop, but I'll be on the lookout for more of them now that I know they're around here. Okay, we're coming up on the fence line where we saw the muscadines. Let's see what these look like. Still little and still very, very green. Well, we struck out, that's okay. It was only about a 5-minute walk, 5.5-minute walk around. Not a big deal. To wrap up today's video, we're gonna go ahead and run some fencing. I've checked all the corner posts. It's been over 6 hours, and so we're going to say that is good. They feel very, very solid in the ground. So we're gonna run some fencing all the way around one side and then the other. If you'll remember from previous videos, this side over here, this back end is going to be open. We're gonna put 2 6-foot gates so that we can swing both of those out and that we can drive a tractor and a front loader in. That at least is the plan. On this side, we'll just simply put about 2.5 feet this way, give me a little excess to attach here. I'm gonna staple the fence to this post right here. And then around the edges on all of the T-posts, we're simply gonna use zip ties. Now, I've done the metal brackets, I've done baling wire, twisting it on there. And one of the easiest things that I found is some zip ties. And while this is not a plug for any one store, the one thing I will say that I consistently buy at Harbor Freight are the zip ties. They're adequate, they're cheap, and you're gonna use them everywhere. In fact, I once had a 74 Ford that the majority of the engine was held up by zip ties. That's not even a joke. Okay. We have one side of the fence up. Now, I don't know that I've mentioned this before, but all of these T-posts are actually 8 feet apart, T-post and this back post. Now, the front post up there, between that post and the first T-post, I believe it's probably closer to 12 feet. What the plan is that when we start loading in compost and things like that in here, we are gonna put some rebar right smack dab in between each of these. Just run it through the fence at 4 feet, and we are going to be able to firm that up and make it rigid. Some may be wondering about predators being able to dig up under here and get into the run. That is something that we are going to address as well. All along the outside, we are gonna have a hot wire that is going to be probably 12 inches up. The coop is on a concrete slab, so I'm not worried about them digging in there at night. So let's go ahead and get started on this side of the fencing, zip tie it in, and we're gonna call it a day. Side 2 is done. Very productive day, even though we had a little bit of a setback with having to deal with these posts in a way that we were hoping not to, but that's all right. And now is the fun part, is I get to go grab the truck, load all this stuff up and clean up and get ready for supper. As always, thanks for joining us here on the Fuller Homestead. I don't know about you guys, but where we're at, school has started for my middle schooler and my high school. My college student still has another week left, but he is working and doing a lot of other things to keep himself busy. So it's gonna be kind of me for a little bit on the homestead as we get into the fall and into the winter, but excited about some projects coming up. I want to say thanks to all the new subscribers we've had recently. It's been exciting to get all of your comments and all of your feedback about the projects that we're doing as we start our little mini farm here in Pangburn, Arkansas. If you haven't subscribed, we would certainly appreciate you doing that. Also, feel free to leave a comment, a question, anything like that, and give it a thumbs up if you feel that it is warranted. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. We'll see you guys again on Wednesday.